Hey guys, welcome to week 13 of Samachar Manthan. We will be covering environment and science and tech related news here. The first topic is government announces regulations for drones. Now this is related to mains, but a few things can be asked in prelims. Uh, to begin with, drones is a colloquial term, that is a non-formal term. Formally, these are known as UAVs or what is known as RPAS, that is remotely piloted aircraft system. Now these regulations, the name is Civil Aviation Requirements, and these have been issued by the DGCA, that is the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Moving to the next part, that is a drone is formally known as an unmanned aerial vehicle, and these can either be remotely controlled or can fly autonomously, that is through software controlled flight plans. Then the next part, that is application of drones. This is basically only mains related stuff. So your question can ask you what is the meaning of drones, where can they be used, critically examine the DGCA recent guidelines. So this particular article is regarding that question. So application will come in your mains, but even in prelims, just go through the applications. They're very easy, you'll understand everything. Then challenges with drones, definitely mains related stuff, very easy points, please go through them yourself. Coming to need for drone policy, so the military has been using drones since 1980s, but since last few years civilian use has started, and because civilian use is unpredictable, we need guidelines. That is why these have been formulated now. The key features of these guidelines important for prelims as well as for mains. So these are drones are categorized in 5 subtypes, and every category has got its own set of rules. So the 5 categories are these: nano, micro, small, medium and large. Please go through them, these points. Then who can fly a drone? Not really important, but just for your knowledge we can go through these points. Anybody who is 18 and above. This point is important. The imported drones require a special license to be issued by the DOT. Then except for the nano category, every other type will require 2 licenses. These are the unique identification number and the unmanned aircraft operator permit. These will be issued by the DGCA, and any drone flying below 200 feet will not require the UAOP, that is the unmanned aircraft operator permit. That's all that is important in this slide. Then the next thing important is where you cannot fly a drone. So there are designated no fly zones, and the prominent among them include these. Please go through them, can be asked in prelims. All the other points, that is issues with the guidelines, that is problems, and your way forward, this is only mains related stuff, simple points, please go through them yourself. The next topic is strategic partnership model. Now this is important for mains as well as for prelims. The first thing is that there is something known as Defense Acquisition Council, and this is chaired by the Defense Minister. Very important point. This is a pretty simple model. The overall objective is to enhance Indian private sector participation in defense manufacturing, and initially 4 sectors have been identified. These are fighter aircraft, helicopters, submarines and armored fighting vehicles or main battle tanks. So in these 4 sectors, Indian private companies will be identified. These private companies will be known as strategic partners, and also foreign original equipment manufacturers will be identified. Now these two will combine to form manufacturing bases in India, and the foreign original equipment manufacturers, they are going to give the technology and other know-how, and the Indian private sector is going to make the defense platform. So this is the broad outline of this model. Then I've already discussed these points. The next is how will this model be beneficial to the country. So these are the points which will be included here. Very simple mains related stuff. Then problems associated with the strategic partnership model. Please go through these points, also important for mains. And finally, we have the conclusion. So that will be all in this topic. The next topic is related to solid waste management, particularly the issue of landfills. This is majorly mains related topic. A few things can, however, be asked in prelims. Coming to the context, your document mentions two separate challenges of solid waste management. The first challenge is the increasing amount of solid waste on an almost daily basis, and the second is about the issue of landfill, because landfills have been historically the most conventional way of managing solid waste, but now because of the complexity of the issue, this method particularly has become outdated, so it needs to be reformed. So the second challenge is legacy of neglect. Then your next point is what is a landfill. So I'm pretty sure most of you who have lived in an urban area must have seen a landfill. These are those giant hills which you see on the outskirts of your city, of your town, and they are only to be called hills because they have the size of a hill, but nothing of the sort of beauty that hills usually have. These are all filled with all kinds of waste which you people produce. So you people, everyone, whoever is living in cities, these are just hills of waste that gets produced by the city dwellers. Then I'm not going to discuss in detail what it means. Please go through the point. Very easy it is. The next is something known as soil liquefaction. Now this can be asked in your prelims. Acha, soil liquefaction means that when the soil acts as a liquid, it is known as soil liquefaction. It generally happens during earthquakes, and landfills are particularly vulnerable to this because landfills are open areas which are exposed to the elements of weather. So all kinds of rain, storms, sunlight, everything they are exposed to, and this leads to leaching of whatever material which is dumped in the landfill. So it has all kinds of material, right from biodegradable to non-biodegradable, harmful, non-harmful, everything is mixed there. So the soil is the land below the landfill is perennially wet, and Delhi being in the earthquake prone zones or in other areas which are earthquake prone, if an earthquake hits, this wet soil will act as a liquid, and which will be a huge hazard to the surrounding population. So soil liquefaction is important and can be asked in prelims. This is also an important point which you will write in your mains answers. The next topic is issues with landfills in India. Very simple points, please go through them yourself. Then we have bad effects of landfills, mains related stuff, simple points. It also talks about two prominent methods of managing solid waste, that is bioremediation and biomining. The process of both bioremediation and biomining is explained in these points. Then finally, why these methods are useful, so just the advantages of these two methods, and finally the way forward. The next topic too is mains related only. The name is the shale gas challenge. So this was in news because recently the government of India has approved a policy which allows both private and government companies to explore and exploit unconventional hydrocarbons. Please note that the stress of the policy is on a broad term, that is unconventional hydrocarbons. Shale gas is just one of these. Now, why exploring shale gas is such a difficult task? The first thing is that it is trapped under low permeable rocks. So low permeable means these rocks do not allow easy movement through them. That is why something known as shale fluid is required. So shale fluid is a combination of pressurized water, chemicals and sand. This means that the shale fluid is water intensive, a huge amount of water is needed. Chemicals will mean that it is environmentally sensitive also, it can cause pollution. So these will be a challenge. Then coming to the other challenges in exploration, the first is inadequate provisions to deal with low water availability. So, bhai, India is already a water stressed nation. Exploring shale gas is a water intensive activity. So, you can get the idea of the problem now. Then, regulating water usage is important for India. This is the second problem. The third problem is threat of water contamination, ground and surface water. Then guidelines are ineffective on various fronts. So these are the other auxiliary problems, auxiliary points which the guidelines do not focus on. And finally, we have the way forward. The next is a very simple topic related to prelims. It reads, ESA satellite to improve weather forecast launched. Coming to the details, the name of the satellite is Earth Explorer Aeolus, and it is an ESA satellite. ESA stands for European Space Agency. The objective is to measure winds around the globe, which is going to improve weather forecasting. The important term is around the globe. All right, this is the first satellite to do this thing. This satellite has been launched into polar orbit, very, very important, on a Vega rocket from French Guiana. Then it uses laser technology to do its job, and this is the fifth in the family of Earth Explorer missions of ESA, and it carries the first instrument of its kind to do its job. I've already told you that. And the job is to measure winds from space in the sense of global wind measurement. And this gives a completely new approach to do this job. Then it fills the critical gap of direct global wind measurement. The important word is direct and global wind measurement, and this gap existed in the global observing system. The next is a prelims related issue, very simple topic. It reads, India's first biofuel powered flight undertakes maiden voyage. Coming to the details, so this flight has been powered by indigenously produced aviation biofuel, and this was produced using a patented technology of CSIR IIP Dehradun, and this flight took off at Dehradun airport only, and it was a space jet flight which used the latest generation Q400 aircraft. Then coming to about the project, so it was an Indo-Canadian consortium project which began in 2010, and besides CSIR, it included Indian Oil, Hindustan Petroleum, IIT Kanpur, as well as IISc Bangalore. And Jatropha oil has been used in the biofuel. And coming to the benefits, the main benefit is a reduction of greenhouse gases by about 15%, and reduction of sulfur oxides by about 99%. So very, very important. The other peripheral benefits have been given here, and that will be all in this topic. The next topic is about a universal flu vaccine, and we'll read about it in the next slide. Now, before we discuss the latest discovery, we need to know about the system at present. So what happens is the modern viral vaccines, they use lab grown viral proteins. Now these vaccines tend to be seasonal in nature. Seasonal means very limited influence, because the virus tends to mutate very rapidly, and as soon as the virus mutates, the vaccine needs to be updated to match the mutation. And this approach has not worked well against influenza viruses. Now come to the topic. So scientists have identified a potential vaccine for flu. Now this vaccine is universal influenza vaccine, which means that unlike the current seasonal vaccines, this vaccine has got performance like the tetanus vaccine, I mean, it just needs to be given a few times over a lifetime, and it will provide protection all along. So we don't need to rapidly update this vaccine, that is every season we don't need a new updation. So this is the discovery and the relevance. The next topic reads, as carbon dioxide levels rise, India faces big crop nutrition deficiency. This has been found by a study of Harvard University, and it concludes that India could be amongst the worst hit nations by falling crop quality due to rising CO2 levels, and the major impact will be on zinc, iron, and protein deficiency. And the next important point is this one, that humans tend to get a majority of key nutrients from plants. About more than 60% of protein and zinc comes from plants, as well as more than 80% of iron. So severe impact will be there on these three. The next topic is OSMART scheme. The full form is given here. Let's come to the details. So the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has given its approval, and this scheme comprises 16 sub-projects which address ocean developmental activities. Then it is going to help in achieving SDG 14. It is also going to benefit various aspects of blue economy. Ocean disaster management will be strengthened, harnessing the vast ocean resources. This can be done. A fleet of research vessels will be used. Please go through the names, you must remember them, can be asked in prelims. And finally, we have the objectives of the scheme, and these are to be achieved in the next 2 years. You must know all these objectives, can be asked in prelims. The next topic is NASA's Spitzer telescope completes 15 years in space. Coming to the details, so this telescope has got infrared vision and high sensitivity, and it has studied some of the most distant galaxies in the known universe. It was launched in 2003, and these are the achievements. Please go through them, can be asked in prelims. Also, important discoveries include new planets, even those in the habitable zones. The last important point in Spitzer topic is the main instrument, which is the infrared array camera. The next topic is INS Sahyadri reaches Australia for exercise Kakadu 2018. The first point is about INS Sahyadri, that this ship has been involved, that is, has represented Indian Navy in multinational exercises, including Malabar, RIMPAC, and Malabar 2018, which was held at Guam, and RIMPAC 2018 at Hawaii. Then the latest involvement is in Kakadu 2018 at Darwin in Australia. So can be asked in prelims. The next is about the exercise. So it started in 1993 and is held biennially. Biennially means once every 2 years. So 2018 is the 14th edition of the exercise, and it derives its name from Kakadu National Park, and this exercise is hosted by the Royal Australian Navy with support from the Australian Air Force. That will be all in this topic. The next issue is launch of national mission on GEM. So GEM stands for Government E-Marketplace, and this is an online end-to-end solution for procurement of commonly used goods and services for all central government departments, state governments, PSUs, and affiliated bodies. The important thing is that this is an online system, and end-to-end solution means it covers everything. There is nothing that is left out, and the objective is to bring in inclusiveness, transparency, and efficiency in public procurement, and all states and union territories will be covered under this program. The next topic reads, Nilgiri tar climbs population charts. This is the beautiful animal we are talking about, and Nilgiri tar is a mountain goat, and a recent census has confirmed that its population has increased, This animal is officially in the endangered list. The census was done at Mukurthi National Park, and besides the population, even the sex ratio has improved. This is the best news that we must have heard in a long time here. After all this hue and cry about the degrading sex ratio in the country, this is music to our ears. So what if it is about a goat? At least it is sex ratio. That should be celebrated. Okay, on a more serious note, these are the threats which Nilgiri Tar faces, can be asked in prelims. Please go through them. Coming to the back to basics part, so the IUCN status, the official status is endangered, and it is also known as Nilgiri ibex or simply ibex. Simply is not the official name, all right? Ibex is. So don't expect simply to precede ibex in your option. Then it is endemic to Nilgiri Hills, very important, as well as to the southern portion of Western Ghats. And these include the Tamil Nadu and Kerala state. It is the state animal of Tamil Nadu and inhabits the open montane grassland in the Sholas. The Eraviculam National Park is home to the largest population of Nilgiri tar. The next topic is Environment Minister releases India's National Red Plus strategy. So you need to know the distinction between red and red plus. The full form is the same, that is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. So self-explanatory name. Red is a series of steps which aim at using market and financial incentives to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases from deforestation and forest degradation. Alright, so the keywords are market and financial incentives to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. It is a collaborative effort of UNFAO, UNDP and UNEP, and though the original objective is to reduce greenhouse gases, the co-benefits include biodiversity conservation and poverty alleviation. So you have to be very careful with the language of your option, whether it is focusing on the core objective or the overall, the broader objectives as well. So if it is only the core objective, it has to be reduction of greenhouse gases, and we are only talking about red here. Coming to red plus, so it goes beyond red and includes role of conservation, sustainable management practices and enhancement of forest carbon stock. So all these things are important, and it emphasizes activities which help in sustainable livelihood of local communities and in conservation of biodiversity. Coming to the background, so Paris Agreement recognizes the role of forest in climate change mitigation and expects nations to take action on RED plus. So RED is basically outdated now. Focus is on RED plus, and India has committed to capture 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 through additional efforts in forestry. Also, India's first biennial update report has claimed that India's forests have captured about 12% of India's total greenhouse gas emissions. Coming to the National Red Plus strategy, it has been prepared by ICFRI, Dehradun. The full form is given here. The aim is same as Red Plus, so just a reiteration. And it will also supplement India's commitment to 2015 Paris Agreement. And this point is important, that a green skill development program will be launched under this program. Then the significance is basically just a reiteration of whatever points we have studied about Red Plus so far. So that will be all in this topic. With this, we come to the end of this video, guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.